The Karhu Fusion 2.0 is where Finnish sensibilities meet chunky dad sneakers. And if you watched a few reviews of it on YouTube, you'll hear everyone raving that it's a high quality sneaker made from high quality materials. Don't get me wrong, it's a cool looking sneaker, but these reviewers have probably never watched a roast and view video. That, or they didn't look at the sneakers close enough, because if they did, the flaws would be apparent. But don't worry, it's not all doom and gloom. First, if you've never heard of the brand, here's a quick history. Founded in 1916, Karhu was initially known as
AB Sportartikla Oy,
manufacturing javelins, skis, and discuses in their Helsinki-based workshop using locally sourced birch. A year later in 1917, the company launched their first footwear, a pair of running spikes. And 3 years later in 1920, changed their name to Karhu, which is Finnish for bear. After the 1952 Summer Olympics in Helsinki, Karhu sold their rights to the 3 stripes to Adidas for a mere 1,600 euros in today's currency, and 2 bottles of whiskey. The logo was soon replaced by the M we know today, which stands for Mestari, or Finnish for champion. Then in 1976, Karhu patented the first air cushion shoes, beating Nike to it as the latter only released theirs in 1978. More recently in 1986, Karhu released the fulcrum technology, which promotes forward motion as opposed to an upward rebound commonly found in other running shoes. Today, the fulcrum technology continues to be used in their performance shoes and has also found its way into the Fusion 2.0, a lifestyle sneaker taking inspiration from the popular 1996 Fusion runners. The pair I have here is from the URSA Minor pack, which references the URSA Minor constellation, aka the Little Bear. As you'll find in most Karhu sneakers, the colorways are tastefully executed, whether inspired by the Finnish culture, cities, nature, and more. You can tell that a lot of thought goes into every release, and props to their designers for somehow being able to always incorporate multiple colors to create a cohesive look. And these sneakers are no different. In terms of materials, the uppers are made from suede, leather, and mesh overlays, with 3M reflective accents on the pull tab, shoelace, and on the M logo. The suede has shorter naps on the toe box, which gives a smoother feel, but has longer naps on the heel counter, which are more prone to shedding. Even on the heel counter, the naps on one end are longer than the other. This inconsistency reflects badly on their quality control, and I hope that it's an exception rather than the norm. Speaking of which, I've worn this shoe for close to a year and have begun to notice loose and uneven stitching in some parts of the shoe. It's nothing major at this price point and doesn't affect the integrity of the shoe in any meaningful way, but for some of you it might be a deal breaker. On the plus side, the glue between the uppers and midsole is still going strong and it'll probably last for at least 1 more year. Meanwhile, the white leather panels have a consistent feel throughout the shoe. But if you know anything about leather, you'd know that the leather on this is not the best. You can see a white plastic coating layer on top of the slightly bluish green of leather, which indicates that the leather is chrome 10. Not that there's anything wrong with chrome 10 leather. Even the leather used in luxury sneakers like common projects are chrome 10. It's just a cheap and fast way to tan leather. The more important thing here is to focus on the tightness or looseness of the leather grain. And unfortunately, the leather here is pretty loose and flicks off easily when it's scratched. Moving on to the mesh panels, they are thick and spongy, which contributes to the chunky look of the shoe. I can feel its sponginess whenever I'm walking in them and there's a sense of sturdiness in it, so I expect it to hold up strong for a long while. The inside lining is also mesh, though it's woven more tightly and feels more like a performance t-shirt fabric, if that makes sense. Also, the URSA Team insole is a nice touch, but apart from that, it's your standard perforated foam insole. Below it, you'll find that it's a strobel stitch construction typically found in runners like these, which are then glued onto the midsole. It's practically made the same way as most mass-produced sneakers, and also made in China, if that matters to you. The many panels and reinforcements, including a stiff midsole and an even stiffer heel counter, result in an all-around inflexible shoe. However, this is slightly offset by the fulcrum technology, which nudges my body to move forward as I land. Still, I wouldn't say that this is the most comfortable shoe out there. It's just less comfortable than I wished, mostly because it's a narrow shoe, kind of like the Air Max 90s. My foot is 25.8 cm long and 10 cm wide, and I'm usually a US 7.5 in other sneakers. Karhu's size guide recommended going 1 size up, which I did, and they still fit a little more snug than I hoped. Going 1.5 size up would have been too long lengthwise, so I simply removed the insoles and they fit fine. Overall, I'd say they're okay for casual walks, but I wouldn't wear them for any activities like hiking or running. If I had to nitpick, the rope laces are too long and look sloppy, but if you use the extra heel lock eyelets, the length becomes perfect. Though it probably takes an extra 5 seconds to wear your shoe, which is an okay trade-off I guess. The Fusion 2.0s retail for 140 euros before shipping, which are neither cheap nor crazy expensive. So should you cop them? If you like the silhouette, then hell yeah. It's a unique shoe that you won't find elsewhere, even in lesser known brands like Mizuno, Saucony, and Diadora. And contrary to what every other reviewer is saying, it's an averagely constructed shoe made with cheap materials. Despite that, they've held up well so far, and even for a guy like me who appreciates welted shoes and quality leather and avoids overly narrow shoes, the silhouette of the Fusion 2.0 along with Karhu's rich history are too cool to pass up. And these kicks definitely have a place in my wardrobe as a statement piece. Unfortunately, this colorway is sold out in most places, but if you're eyeing any other colorways, do yourself a favor and grab them before they're sold out. Now, if you are more into minimalist Swedish footwear, check out my review on the CQP Otium. Until next time, stay subtle.